Hello all. In the previous class we have discussed about the design factors of the transformer, okay, where we looked into the choice of magnetic flux density BM, okay, for various kinds of transformers and various service of the transformers. We looked into the choice of current density. So to keep the minimum copper losses in the transformer, my primary and secondary current density should be same. And third point, we looked into the choice of window space factor, that is KW. So we got various expressions for KW for different kVA ratings of the transformers. Okay, so this is what we have seen in the previous class. So in the previous class, today we will move into design of winding. Design of winding. So design of winding in the sense, number of turns in primary and secondary, area of conductor in primary and secondary. Okay. So for single phase transformer, first for single phase transformer, first we'll see the number of turns, then we'll go to the area. Okay. So number of turns, always we take the number of turns per phase. Okay. So whatever the values we calculate, it will be per phase basis for multi-phase machines. Okay. So first we will say for single phase, single phase transformer. Okay. We have V1 and V2. V1 and V2 are primary and secondary voltage respectively. Okay. So therefore, my primary number of turns, we have taken it as T1 and T2. T1 is equals to V1 divided by Vt. Voltage divided by voltage per turn will give us the number of turns. Okay. And secondary turns, T2 is equals to V2 divided by Vt. Okay. V2 divided by Vt. So this is for single phase. For three phase, transformer, primary turns, T1 is equals to V1 pH divided by Vt. Okay. And secondary turns, T2 is equals to V2 pH divided by Vt. V1 pH divided by Et, V2 pH divided by Et. So next is cross section area of conductor. Cross section area of conductor for single phase transformer, Okay. So we have Q is equals to V1 into I1 is equals to V2 into I2 volt amperes. Okay. V1 into I1 divided by V2 into I2 volt amperes, or kilovolt amperes. We can call it as kilovolt amperes. Let us take V1 I1 into 10 to the power minus 3 equals to V2 I2 into 10 to the power minus 3 kVA. Okay, so that is the transformer rating in kilovolt amperes. Therefore, I1 is equals to, okay, I can write Q into 10 to the power 3 divided by V1. Okay, and I2 is equals to Q into 10 to the power 3 divided by V2. So this is I1 and I2, and I can give the area by choosing suitable current density delta. We can get A1 is equals to I1 divided by delta, okay, and A2 is equals to I2 divided by delta. Okay. So this is the area of conductors in primary and secondary for single phase transformer. Similarly, for three phase transformer, my Q will be 3 V1 pH I1 pH into 10 to the power minus 3 equals to 3 V2 pH into I2 pH into 10 to the power minus 3 kVA. Okay. Therefore, I1 is equals to Q divided by Q into 10 to the power 3, okay, V1 pH, okay, and I2 is equals to Q into 10 to the power 3 divided by V2 pH, and A1 is equals to I1 by delta and A2 is equals to I2 by delta. So this is how I get the area of conductors in three phase transformers. Okay. So next is choice of window dimensions. Now in the previous discussion we calculated the value of KW. We can get the value of AW there. Once I get the value of area of window, now okay, we'll draw the diagram and I will let you know. Next is choice of window dimensions. Choice of window dimensions. Choice of window dimensions. Okay. So now we have this as a window. This is a single phase core type transformer. this is the core. So this is the core. Now we know that width of largest stamping or width of core is A. This is also A. Okay? But whereas this is D, this is D. So this is diameter of circumcircle. Okay? D. D. Okay? And capital D is the distance between core centers. Capital D is the distance between core centers. Now, what is the window? The space that is available after the circumcircle in the between the two limbs of the transformer is my window. So this is the entire area of window. Okay, after this diameter and after this diameter is the entire area of window. So now area of window is given by these dimensions. Now this is width of window, WW, width of window, and this is height of window, HW. Height of window and height of core will be exactly the same. Height of window and height of core will be exactly the same. Okay. Now, with this, I get overall dimension of the transformer. This is the overall height. Okay, this is the overall height, and let us take this is D and this is the overall width of the transformer. Okay. So this is for single phase transformer. Overall height and overall width, okay, of the transformer. Okay. So now what is area of window? Now area of window is given by AW is equals to height of window into width of window. Height of window into width of window. Okay. So now I got area of window from the output equation. Okay. So what was the output equation? Output equation was Q is equals to 2.22 F BM AI AW KW delta into 10 to the power minus 3 kVA. Okay. So I will get the value of frequency from the specifications. BM value I will be fixing it. AI value I will be obtaining from the type of the core I use. Okay. That is for 2-stepped core it is 0.56 d square, for 3-stepped it is 0.62 d square, so on, like that. Okay. Then KW I will be calculating from the equation, that is the 8 divided by 30 plus kV, 10 divided by 30 plus kV, or 12 divided by 30 plus kV, depending upon the power rating. Delta is the value that is fixed. So Q is the known value. Okay. Now I will be calculating this area of window from the output equation, which is one of the main dimension of the transformer. Now after calculating the area of window, I will be knowing what is the area of window, but I will not be knowing what is the dimension of that window. So now area of window is given by height of window multiplied by width of window. So now here I have to choose the dimensions of window, because height of window and width of window are unknown. So I should be expressing either height of window in terms of width of window or width of window in terms of height of window. So that I have to do. For that I should be choosing which should be larger and which should be smaller. Now first we will see what if I have the larger height with respect to the when compared to the larger width. If height of window is more than width of window, more than larger than width of window. So with this what will happen? The height of the frame increases, distance between two limbs decreases. The two windings placed on both the limbs will come near to each other and the leakage flux decreases. With this, leakage reactance decreases, overload capacity increases. Okay? So the advantage of higher width or larger height when compared to the width. Okay? If I make the transformer window very narrow, very narrow, then height of the window increases. Okay, which will make the two windings placed on both the limbs close to each other. The leakage flux and leakage reactance decreases. This is one of the advantage. But the disadvantage with this is that there is no sufficient space for cooling. Okay, and there can't be sufficient space for clearance. I need to have some clearances for cooling or for expansion. Okay, so for that I need to give some clearances. Now if I make the window very narrow by keeping height large and width less, then my cooling will suffer in the transformer. There can't be enough cooling and there can't be sufficient clearance space that can be provided. Okay, this is one case. Second case, if width of window is much larger than height of window, then obviously leakage increases. Okay, leakage increases and I need more magnetizing ampere turns. So I generally don't go for this condition. Generally, if you observe, the height of window will be greater than width of window. Okay, the height of window will be generally greater than width of window. So therefore, we should be keeping a relation between height to width. Okay, such a way that I will get the best design or trade-off, better trade-off. Okay, so with respect to leakage reactance and with respect to cooling, okay, I will be establishing a relation such that the ratio of width of window to height of window, the ratio of height to width of window, ratio of height of window to width of window that is HW to WW is equals to 2 to 4. Generally we take this width equals to 2 to 4. Okay, but more commonly height of window to width of window is 3. Height of window is 3 times the width of window. Okay, so this is the general ratio we consider, commonly we consider while designing the transformer. Okay. So So next we'll see a small derivation. Okay. Next we'll see a small derivation where we see what should be the width of window for the maximum output to be obtained by the transformer. Okay. What should be the width of window for the maximum output? See, maximum output in the sense maximum active power. But my total power is same. E2 I2 is same as that of E1 I1, or V2 I2 is same as that of V1 I1. I am not talking about the total power. The maximum usable power at the output is my V2 I2 cos phi 2. So how I can increase V2 I2 cos phi 2 to get the maximum usable output power on the secondary? What should be the condition with respect to the window width? Okay, that we will be looking at. So next you take width of window for maximum output. Width of window for maximum output. I will start it from here because I need this figure. Width of window for maximum output. Okay. The distance between core center is given by the distance between core centers B is given by D is equals to, it is width of iron. I will tell each term, I will tell how it is taken, plus width of bare conductor plus width of insulation and clearance. Width of insulation and clearance. I will redraw the same diagram once again, only taking the D. Okay. So this is the frame of transformer. Now this is D. Okay. We know that this is D. Okay. And I have the circumcircle. This is my circumcircle. Okay. Upon that I have the conductor crest. I will take the sectional view. Okay, along the height I will take the sectional view. So this is how the transformer looks like. Okay, so this is the circumcircle. This is the circumcircle. So distance between core centers is this width plus this width, okay, plus this width. Okay. The three widths will add the distance between core centers. What is there in between these two we will see. Okay. Now what is this taken is, so this is width of iron. including circumcircle, it is considered width of iron by 2 because it is half. What is this? Width of iron, okay, by 2. Okay. So in this middle width, okay, in this middle width, I have bare conductor, okay, plus insulation plus clearance. So bare conductor is taken separately, insulation and clearance is taken separately. Because bare conductor adds to area of copper. Okay, area of copper is the area, the copper which is not insulated. That is area of copper. Okay. So what this in between iron consists of? In between iron consists of bare conductor. See, if I show you the windings, how it will be seen. Okay, the copper conductors will be like this. Okay, so on. So I have so many conductors, number of turns, so on. So each conductor is insulated. Also, each layer is insulated. Also, each winding is insulated. And there is some clearance left in between these two cylindrical windings. So that will include width of insulation and clearance, the third part. Second part is width of bare conductor. First part is width of iron. Okay. So I can write this as equals to D is equals to. So what is width of iron? So what is this? This is nothing but my D. This is D. This is also D. So half of this width plus half of this width. I can write this here as D by 2 plus D by 2 plus plus width of bare conductor plus, I will take it as m, plus m. So where m is width of insulation and clearance. Where m is width of insulation and clearance. Okay. So width of iron by 2 plus width of iron by 2 will give the total width of iron. Okay, D by 2 plus D by 2, including circumcircle it is considered. Okay. Now width of bare conductor plus m, where m is the width of insulation and clearance. Okay. So therefore I can write D is equals to not D is equals to D already I got. I can write once I will write it. D is equals to D plus width of bare conductor plus m. Now therefore width of bare conductor is equals to, what I can write is D minus D minus m. D minus D minus m, or I will write D minus m minus D, or this I will write D dash minus D, where D dash is equals to, okay, I will write it as D minus m. Where D dash is equals to D minus m. Okay. You take this as equation A. Okay. Let us take equation A. Now let S be the output of transformer in volt amperes. Output of transformer in volt amperes per unit height. Okay. So whatever may be the height of the transformer I have, this S will be the output of transformer per unit height. Okay, let this be the unit height. Okay, so Q is equals to height of the transformer multiplied by S. So total output is equals to height of the transformer multiplied by S. Okay, that I can write. So let S be the output of transformer in volt amperes per unit height. Okay, I will write this part. So therefore S is equals to, I can write ET, okay, into TH into I. This is equation 1. ET is EMF per turn multiplied by number of turns. If I take EMF per turn multiplied by number of turns in primary, that becomes primary voltage. If I take EMF per turn multiplied by secondary number of turns, it becomes secondary voltage. But now what I will do, I will take EMF per turn multiplied by number of turns per unit height. That will become the voltage per unit height multiplied by the current. So current, whether it is per unit height or per conductor or the total conductor, it is same. The current that is flowing in primary is same whether I place primary here, in middle, at the top, half here, half here. All the primary conductors are connected in series in the form of turns. So whatever the first conductor carries current, the last conductor carries the same current. So there is no meaning in taking I per height, per unit height. Current will not increase with respect to height, but the voltage will increase with respect to height. Because voltage with, suppose in 1 unit height there are 10 turns and EMF per turn is 10. Then in first unit height the voltage is 100. The second unit height voltage is 100. Third unit height voltage is 100. The total voltage is 300. But whereas the current will not be of that sort, current will be same. Okay, whether it is in the bottom turn or at the top turn or at the mid turn. So I don't consider current per unit height. So what will this give? ET into TH will give us voltage per unit height multiplied by current, that is output per unit height. Okay. So where TH is TH, number of turns per unit height. Number of turns per unit height. Okay. Therefore, ET is equals to, I have ET is equals to 4.44 F into 5, or I can write 4.44 F BM into AI. Okay. 4.44 F BM into AI. So area of core, net area of core depends upon the type of the core section I use. Net area of core depends upon the type of the core section I use. So AI is equal to 0.45 d square for square core. AI is equals to 0.656 d square for two-stepped core. Area AI is equals to 0.62 d square for three-stepped core. 0.71 I think for four-stepped core, so on. So this area AI depends upon the number of steps in the core multiplied by d square. So I can write simply AI, okay, depends on number of or depends on cross section of the core. Cross section of core. Therefore, AI is equals to, let us take Kc into d square. That Kc be the factor taken depending upon my number of steps. If it is square, single step. If it is square, 0.45. If it is 2 step or cruciform, 0.56. If it is 3 step, it is 0.62 and so on. Okay. So AI is equals to Kc into d square. Substitute that in the ET. Okay. So I can write ET is equals to, therefore EMF per turn equal to 4.44 F Bm. In place of AI, I can write Kc into d square. Okay, Kc into d square. Now, frequency is a constant. It depends upon the supply system. Flux density already I will be choosing at the starting of the design. That will remain constant. My Kc depends upon the type of core section I use. Okay, it is also a constant. Okay, so for a given Bm and Kc, okay, Et is proportional to d square. For given Bm and Ac, okay, which will apparently remain constant throughout the design. Okay, these are constants. Because once I choose the number of steps, Kc remain constant, and when I have to start the design, I should be assuming some value of flux density, suitable value of flux density, so that will remain constant throughout my operation. Throughout my operation. So therefore Bm also remains constant. So therefore Et is proportional to d square. So let us take this as equation 2. That is equation 2. From equation 1, I into Th, okay, I into Th is nothing but my MMF of the transformer per unit height. MMF per unit height of transformer. MMF per unit height of transformer. Okay. So I can write I into Th is equals to I into Th is equals to, in place of I can write A into delta Th. A into delta into Th. Okay. So what is A? A is the area of cross section of one conductor, that is each conductor. Or I will write this as delta A into Th. Delta A into Th. Okay. So what is A into Th? It is area of one conductor multiplied by total number of turns per unit height. Therefore, that is area of copper per unit height. Okay. Area of copper per unit height. So here A into Th is area of conductor per unit height. Now what do you mean by that? A into Th is equals to width of conductor per unit height multiplied by height of conductor. When I have taken per unit height, height of conductor is 1. Okay, so what do you mean by this is, please don't get confused that conductor will be of 1 meter high. Conductor in the sense this. if this is the core, I will draw only one limb. Okay, so this is the core I have. I have some height of the core. I am considering per unit height. Okay, let this be unit height. Okay, so I have so many number of conductors here. Okay, so this is what area of conductor means. Okay, so this is A into TH. Okay, so this will give the width of conductor. Okay, and this will give the height of conductor, which is equals to 1, because it is unit height. Okay, it doesn't mean that one conductor is of 1 meter height. Okay, that is not the meaning. So what I get here? Sorry. So width of conductor into height of conductor. Okay, so ATH is equals to height of conductor. This is equals to 1. So I will write ATH is equals to width of conductor per unit height. And this is equals to, what is width of conductor from equation A? Okay, so width of bare conductor from equation A was D dash minus D. Width of conductor from equation A was D dash minus D. Okay, so A into TH is equals to D dash minus D. So from equation 1, okay, so what is equation 1? Equation 1 is S is equals to ET into TH into I. Okay, ET into TH into I. Now ET is proportional to D square from equation 2 I. ET is proportional to D square. Okay, you can take it as equation 3. Okay. ET is proportional to D square from equation 2 and I into TH. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. A into TH is D dash minus D. One more thing we will take. Not this as equation 3. Now what is I into TH? I into TH is equals to delta into D dash minus D. This is delta E into TH. So delta D dash minus D. Now I into TH is proportional to D dash minus D. This as equation 3 you take. Okay. So this is equation 3. Now from equation 2 and 3, equation 2 and 3, from equation 2 and 3, equation 1 can be written as S proportional to D square and D dash minus D. Because ET is proportional to D square, I into TH or TH into I is proportional to D dash minus D. Therefore, I can write S proportional to D square into D dash minus D. Okay? Or S is equals to some constant A into D square D dash minus D. Some constant A into d square d dash minus a. Okay, so a is constant. A is constant. So therefore S is equals to a d dash d square minus a d cube. A d dash d square minus a d cube. Okay. So when do I get maximum output? You take this as equation 4. So to get the optimum width of the window, so that I will get the maximum output, I have to differentiate equation 4, that is S, with respect to D and equate it to 0. Okay. To get optimum width of window, to get optimum width of window, to get optimum width of window, to achieve maximum output, differentiate equation 4 with respect to D, because the only variable is D there. Okay, with respect to D and equate to 0. Okay, that is ds by dd is equals to 0. Don't write it as d square. Okay, ds by dd is equals to 0. So what I get? ds by dd, ds by dd implies, okay, ds by dd implies a d dash d square, d by dd of d square, it is 2a d dash into d, okay, 2a d dash into d minus a into d cube, 3a d square, and this is equals to 0. That is equals to 0. So I can write 2a d dash, 2a d dash into d is equals to 3a d square. Okay, 1d will get cancelled, a will get cancelled. Therefore, d dash is equals to 3 by 2 into d. That is 1.5 into d. So d dash is equals to 1.5 into d, or 3 by 2 into d. But what is d dash? Okay, so d dash is equals to d minus m. Okay, d dash is equals to d minus m, or d is equals to d dash plus m. I have the value of d dash, substitute here. So 1.5 into d plus m. 1.5 into d plus m. Okay, so I will consider the width of clearance and insulation, or width of insulation and clearance, to be some around 20% of the diameter of circumcircle. Okay, assume okay, width of insulation and clearance, assume width of insulation and clearance about 20% of D. Okay, that is m is equals to 0.2 into d. Therefore, capital D is equals to 1.5 into d plus 0.2 into d. It will be 1.7 into d. If I take 30%, it will be 1.8 into d. If I take 40%, it will be 1.9 into d. Okay, so whatever I assume, okay, so this assumption is important. So width of window. Ultimately, I want width of window here. That is what I wanted to, okay, obtain. So width of window WW is equals to. See what is width of window? See here. This is width of window. Okay. This is width of window. I have this D. Okay. This D I have. I want WW from this D. Now what is this? D by 2. And what is this? D by 2. Okay. So if I deduct D by 2 here and D by 2 here, from this D I will get width of window. So I can write D minus D by 2 minus D by 2, or this equals to D minus D. What is D? It is 1.7 D. So 1.7 into small d minus D. Therefore width of window is equals to 0.7 into D. So this is the optimum width of window to be obtained so that my output of the transformer is maximum. Now if I choose 30%, okay, if I choose 30% of D, it will become 0.3 D, it will become 1.8 D, it will become 0.8 D. Okay, so what percentage of M I choose of D, okay, so that will be deciding this optimum condition. So generally you remember this derivation. If it is asked to find, show that for the optimum, show that for the maximum output of the transformer, the optimum width of the window is 0.8 into D. Then there you have to consider 30%. Okay, here you should consider, instead of 20, you should consider 30%. Now if it is asked in the exam that obtain the optimum window width for maximum output of the transformer, simply derive this. Okay, you should be deriving this itself, okay, as it is. So this is about the choice of window dimensions and the optimum width of the window to achieve the maximum output. Okay, so next point will be the main dimensions of the transformer. Now I got all the dimensions. Now I know what is D. Okay, I know what is A. I can get A from the D, this D. Okay, I can get this D from AI. Okay, that is one thing. I can get the KW from HW and WW. Sorry, from KW I can get HW and WW from area of window. Then I should now find the dimensions of the transformer, main dimensions or the overall dimensions of the transformer. So overall dimension of the transformer, for single phase shall we finish? I think it takes hardly 2 minutes. We'll finish for single phase. For 3 phase we'll look into in the next class. So for overall dimensions for single phase. Overall dimensions, single phase transformer. Single phase transformer. So D is equals to D plus width of window. You can observe, or we can write it as capital D is equals to, capital D is this, capital D is this, D by 2 plus width of window plus D by 2. So I can write D by 2 plus width of window plus D by 2. This will be D plus W. Okay. Then width of core is width of largest stamping, that is nothing but A. Okay, width of core is nothing but A. Then what is depth of core? That is equals to dy. This is depth of core. Okay, so this is what the depth of core means. So whatever the width of core I get, I will get the same depth of core. So dy is also equals to A. Okay, dy is equals to A. Then overall height. Now this is height of yoke at the top and height of yoke at the bottom. There are two yokes, one at top, one at bottom. So overall height H is equals to height of window plus height of yoke plus height of yoke. So height of yoke plus height of window plus height of yoke. Height of yoke plus height of window plus height of yoke. That is overall height. So this equals to capital H is equals to height of window HW plus 2HY. Generally HY is also equals to A. So height is equals to height of window plus 2A. Okay. Then overall width W is equals to. So this is the overall width. This is what? This is A. Width of core is A. Distance between core center. So this is the center of the core. So this is A by 2 D and this is A by 2. So it will be A by 2 plus D plus A by 2. Okay. So width of overall width is equals to D plus A. So these are the main dimensions of the transformer. Overall dimensions of the transformer. Okay. So with this we will end today's session. Okay. In the next class we will look into the three-phase overall dimensions and then we will move for the design examples. Okay. So thank you for joining the class. Okay.